Chapter 1: The 2026 Paradox. Beirut is a city that lives in the future tense. Everybody is always talking about when the crisis ends, when things get back to normal. But as we sit here in March 2026, the normal we once knew is gone. Between the deep scars of the 2020 port blast and the hundreds of thousands currently displaced by the recent escalations in the southern suburbs and the south, Beirut is a city in the middle of a massive, involuntary transformation. If you walk through downtown today, the stones are clean, the arches are restored. It looks like the Paris of the Middle East dream, but it is a ghost town. This is the great paradox of 2026. While the pristine heart of the city stands empty and silent, just a few kilometers away, public schools, parks, and old apartments are overflowing with families who have nowhere else to go. Beirut is at a critical crossroads. It is a must to ask the question that defines Beirut's future. Is Beirut a city, or is it just a giant, solitary outdoor museum? Chapter 2: The Solidere Era. Amnesia by Design. To understand why the center is empty while the rest of the city suffocates, we have to look at the wrong way it was rebuilt last time. The Solidere era in the 1990s, the heart of Beirut was handed over to a single, powerful private company. This was neoliberal urban planning at its most extreme. Instead of repairing the damaged historical fabric, they chose demolition. 80% of the surviving pre-war buildings were torn down, wiping away centuries of history under the excuse of progress. We call this amnesia by design. The result was the total displacement of original shop owners and residents. A messy, diverse marketplace was replaced by homogenized luxury boutiques that the average Lebanese person couldn't afford. It created an urban island, a place that doesn't communicate with the vital, struggling city surrounding it. Chapter 3: The Architecture of Exclusion. The problem isn't just economics, it's architecture itself. Old Beirut buildings were designed around social lobbies. These were semi-public spaces, triple-arched balconies, or wide ground floors that invited the streets inside. They were visual bridges between private life and the public sphere. Modern luxury towers have replaced them with security lobbies. The street level is blocked by opaque or reflective glass walls. These walls act as a one-way mirror, seeing the street but never letting it in. When you design a city around security and prestige, you push the people away. The city is only as strong as the people who can afford to walk its sidewalks. Chapter 4: The 2026 Mandate. The 3RF Method. In 2026, Beirut cannot afford the 1990s playbook. This time it needs a bottom-up approach that addresses the current displacement crisis. This is the goal of the 3RF framework: reform, recovery, and reconstruction. What is it? It is a structural response launched by the World Bank, the United Nations, and the European Union in partnership with Lebanese civil society. Who is behind it? Unlike the private sector-led 90s, the 3RF is designed to be monitored by independent groups and international donors. It moves the power away from a single master plan and gives it to the people. Why does it matter now? Because in 2026, we realize you can't fix a building if the institution managing it is broken. The 3RF insists that reform, transparency, and housing rights must happen alongside reconstruction. It prioritizes area-based recovery, focusing on the unique needs of a neighborhood rather than a generic corporate vision. Chapter 5: The Karantina Pilot and Citizen Science. The blueprint for this is the Karantina Pilot. Karantina sustained the highest damage after the 2020 port blast and remains a high-pressure zone for displacement in 2026. Instead of clearing the area for high-rises, teams like the Beirut Urban Lab treated the community itself as the data. They trained citizen scientists, local residents paid to interview their neighbors. They didn't just map structural damage, they mapped social networks, memories, and needs. Before a single brick was laid, they created a descriptive memory profile of the neighborhood to ensure housing rights and prevent the displacement of the poor. Chapter 6: Circular Economy and Healing. The 2026 reconstruction marks a shift from extraction to regeneration. Instead of damaging the marine ecosystems by dumping ruins into the Mediterranean, they should be implementing a circular economy, recycling the very fabric of the lost homes into the foundation of the future. This isn't just about sustainability, it's about sovereignty. By rejecting the top-down models of the past and embracing community-driven recovery, it is ensured that Beirut's 8th reconstruction isn't a museum for investors, but a living city for the citizens. Architecture is no longer just about buildings. It's a tool for national unity.